Alright, I'm good when you are.
Hello, my name is Logan Hale, and I'll be presenting the thought experiment of the brain in the vat and our own question, is it human? I'll also be presenting why the answer is definitively yes. I'll be going over my reasons for why the brain is human. First, we'll look at what human is, what the brain is, and draw some clear connections. Next, we'll talk about consciousness and how it relates to both humanity and the brain. Finally, we'll go over the importance of perspective and how the brain's perspective is fundamentally the same as ours. I'd like to wrap up here with a short quote. The brains in the vat are brains. Moreover, they are functioning brains, and they function by the same rules as brains do in the actual world. For these reasons, it would seem absurd to deny consciousness or intelligence to them. Hilary Putnam, who is an American philosopher, mathematician, and computer scientist, and a major figure in analytic philosophy. Putnam, in his interpretation of the brain in the vat scenario, believes the brains, will be completely and wholly human. Hopefully, I can tell you all about why.
Hello, I'm Ashley Pearson, and I'm here for the argument that whether or not the thought experiment, the brain in the vat, is human or not human. I say that it is not human, and I believe this because if a disembodied brain is protected during removal and placed into a life-sustaining liquid, hooked up to a computer and put into a simulation and led to believe that it is in the real world, having a life embodied within the computer, it cannot be a human being. There are several reasons why. The mind is not physical, and I will later prove this. And there's also the fact that at this point in time that it only exists on the computer, it has become a part of the computer, and it does not fit the basic definition of human being anymore. Through my research, including some from Hilary Putnam, a Harvard philosopher, even he agrees that it is not human.
When you ask whether or not something is human, the first thing you want to know is what human is. You might remember that we did extensive study on this last semester in history with Mr. Bagwell, and you may recall that big markers of humanity are upright walking, opposable thumbs, and these are tools. That are all things that we use to define humans physically. What makes us human lies up here. It's not spirituality, it's not superstition, this is the science of the brain and what makes it unique. According to K. Brown, developer of dialogues and biological anthropology, the biggest landmarks for humanity are language, willingness to self-sacrifice for others, ability to empathize, and most importantly, the human capacity for learning, in which we can learn by example and not just experience. I think it is this point that you might be coming to realize that the brain, or your brain for all practical purposes of the experiment, exhibits all of these characteristics, and that while it has lost its body, it's not lost its humanity. The brain is still fully functional, still learns and laughs and lives in every way that we do. Now that we've come to establish what human is, we can start expanding a little. I've come to think that being human is having our level of consciousness and everything that comes with it. Consciousness is quite the quagmire, but a very important one, because it might be an illusion, but at the same time is the only thing we can prove to be true in this world. And as a certain philosopher once said, I think, therefore I am. Think of it this way. If we're a man to lose a leg in the war, is he still human? If you were to lose an arm, is he still human? If we were to continue this process, we get to a point very similar to the brain in the vat, where we are left with a brain sustained by unconventional means, but can still experience life and everything that goes on inside the mind. The only difference is the simulation. Considering what we know about life, this is any difference at all. Lastly, I'm going to go over the brain's point of view. Remember, the brain doesn't have to be someone else. It can be you. From the brain's perspective, the simulation is the real world. Everything is normal. It's a human with a body, and more importantly, a mind. And perspective is everything. Here's why. You may have heard this example from British advertising executive Rory Sutherland. And it goes like this. 6 million pounds, or $7.5 million US was spent reducing the journey of the US Eurostar from Paris to London by about 40 minutes. But this didn't satisfy anybody, because that's not the way that human works. How much does a man want? A little more than he already has. Alternatively, for 0.01% of the cost, you could have simply put Wi-Fi on the train, and customer satisfaction would have skyrocketed. Another example, shown in Korea, is the addition of visual stoplight timers put onto red stoplights. Nothing changes about stoplights except for the visual representation of timers, and the times spent at stoplights are exactly the same, except that it is proven to reduce accident rates. Nothing changes, only our perspective. When we are given a new perspective, a new milestone, things change. All of this is shown in the brain of the cat. From the brain's perspective, the simulation's not a simulation. It's the only life it has ever known. From the brain's perspective, it has lived 15 nice years and is now listening to a debate about whether or not it should be human. And from the brain's perspective, the answer is yes. The brain believes itself to be human, has human experiences, has human perspectives, and should be treated as such.
My first point is that the mind is not physical. If an ant runs through the sand and traces an image that happens to look like Alexander Hamilton, is that picture thereby a representation of Alexander Hamilton? If the same picture were deliberately printed in a newspaper of Alexander Hamilton, would it then be a representation? Many would say that the picture drawn by the ant accidentally is not a representation, however the newspaper article would be. This is because the ant has no intention of what it's doing. The ant doesn't realize that it's creating lines in the sand, much less ones that look like a popular figure. The one put in the newspaper was put there on purpose. So thereby we can determine that representation comes from intention. And from this we can also determine that physical things cannot represent anything else, because physical objects, this computer has no intention. What I do with it gives it intention. Thought itself has intention. So we can tell, and it can represent anything that it wants to. So we can then separate the mind from physical things. How could something that's non-physical come to represent a physical being, a human being? But regardless of this, for my second point, let's pretend that the brain and mind itself were physical. In this point of time that it's hooked up to the computer and everything it knows and believes to exist happens only on this computer, the brain itself has become a component of the computer. By the time that my life, by the time that all of your lives are just on a computer, you are no longer human. You are a piece of data in a computer. How do we know that now, in this moment, all of us in this room aren't just brains in a vat? I could be light years away sitting in my vat, and you on the other end of the universe in yours. But here we are in the same simulation, and you happen to believe that I am here in front of this room speaking to you. But instead, we are just in a simulation, and there are just electrodes in my brain. Think about that for a moment. Everything we do, everything you do, everything you see seems real. Everything we feel seems real. Everything we believe to be true seems to be real. Everything we believe, everything, just seems that way. But maybe, just maybe, it is only like this within our computer. Everything we know is in this computer. If we only exist in the way that we understand and believe we do, we are just a part of the computer. We cannot be human and machine at once. I cannot be a piece of data on a computer and a human being. The brain cannot be a human being. Even besides that, the brain doesn't apply to the definition of human. According to the contributors of the PBS organization, there are a few basic things that make us believe to be human. Our spoken language and tool-making and laughter and our evolution are just a few of these simple things. A brain in a vat does not apply to any of these. A brain in a vat cannot speak, for it has no vocal cords. Cannot craft tools, for it has no hands. Cannot laugh, for it has no mouth. Cannot evolve because it has no generations before it or after. Not only that, but the word human refers to a species, correct? Homo sapien. A species is, as defined by Merriam-Webster, a classification related to organisms that are capable of interbreeding. Brains in vats or jars cannot interbreed. They can't even classify as a species. How could they classify as human? They don't even fit the very basic definition of what we are.
Okay, you have 90 seconds to prepare your rebuttals, starting now. Hey, put her on the phone. I got 1 minute until they start again.
I was waiting to do that. Yours will be like come to a conclusion.
This one's very easy.
I sent back a screenshot of the receipt. It's on the phone.
Is that your box?
Take them. I can't get you a print out. I'm in school, you're in school.
It also be your box.
I can print it out in a minute. I gotta go. All right, my idiot daughter got done in 30 seconds, so y'all get to go now. All right.
So, my opponent said that the brain is only a simulation and is a part of a computer. This is false because the brain is functional, still processes, and still thinks and lives as we do. The only purpose of the body is to carry the brain to sense things. Both of these are replaced by the simulation in a way that does not keep you from being human. The brain has social experiences just as much as anyone on the outside does. The only difference is the fabrication. Perfect fabrication, in fact, of other humans. The problem with this argument is that we are in much the same situation as the brain, only able to prove our own existence. Who are we to say that the brain's experiences are false when we cannot know whether our own are true?
My opponent said that a part of being human is our ability to empathize with one another. However, the brains cannot empathize with one another. The definition of empathy is to be able to feel the emotions that other people are feeling based upon problems or situations going on in their own life. We cannot empathize with people who are having simulated emotions. I cannot empathize with, say, a simulation on my computer. If a human being simulation was on my computer, there's no way for me to sympathize with it. It has no true problem for me to sympathize with. It's just data in a computer. And then there's also the fact that he said consciousness. Even he himself said that consciousness is an illusion. How can we be proven our own existence just using the basis of an illusion?
Good. You done? Okay, conclusions?
Overall, I hope you learned a little about what it means to be human and how this thought experiment, or reality, is human in every way we can imagine. We've gone over what makes us human, which is our capacity for learning, our ability to empathize, and our willingness to self-sacrifice. We've drawn lines as to where you stop being human and found the correlation of the mind and the brain. And lastly, we've explored the importance of perspective, and that from the brain's perspective, simulation is the only life that's ever known. I'd like to leave off with one last question. If the brain in the vat feels human emotions, thinks human thoughts, has human experiences, and believes itself to be human, where does it differ from us? How could it be anything but human? Thank you.
The way we understand human and the way we understand humanity as a whole simply doesn't allow us to think of the brain in a vat as human. If we could classify something as simple as that, about 5 to 7 pounds of mass in a bowl, essentially, as a human being, what else could be considered to be human?